was like,
The Holy Spirit took over.
and no one cares about sprints.
I care about the sprint. McLaren
Is the world championship
I have some thoughts about that.
He's Max friggin' Verstappen. He should always be on your radar.
We get to the juicy bits.
Love the juicy bits.
I'm not a scientist.
Overtake King.
Yeah.
That restart, by the way, from Oscar Piastri.
Cheeky.
Diabolical. There's been lots of drivers. It's hard to keep them all straight. And we're live. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is Why Are You Yelling? Welcome back to another F1 race review. Today we're talking about the 2026 Chinese Grand Prix at the Shanghai International Circuit.
It was glorious.
It was a fun weekend.
Let me tell you. Okay, so this weekend was a sprint weekend.
Uh-huh.
So our sprint results, we had George Russell, Charles Leclerc, and Lewis Hamilton, which, okay, but as
It's
Anna,
just a sprint. It's
as
just
Anna has said, who cares about the sprint? I do. But listen to me right now. Our Grand Prix podium in China was Kimi Antonelli.
with his first F1 win of his little baby
Yes.
career, all of 19 years old, the second youngest race winner in F1 history.
But he's the youngest pole sitter now.
yeah,
Crazy. And then in second, we have George Russell.
good job, George.
But listen, in third, finally breaking the curse, breaking the stat, we have Lewis Hamilton on the podium. So now no one can say it anymore. We don't want to hear it anymore. He has yet to have a podium in a Grand Prix. Blah, 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 blah. No more. It's done.
I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear it anymore. Holy crap, I feel like I've waited a lifetime. I watched it live, so it was 4 a.m. for me, and I'm like, I'm so tired and I'm so happy, and I couldn't cry, but I wanted to out
You were
of
just too tired.
happiness. I was like, Lewis,
Yay.
I saw it, and then I was out. Like, that was all the energy I had. So with our constructor standings, we have had Haas, who has moved up from 5th to 4th, overtaking Red Bull. We have Alpine, who's moved from 8th to 7th, overtaking Audi. And in the driver standings, we have Oliver Behrman has moved from 7th to 5th, overtaking Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. Pierre Gasly moved from 10th to 7th, also overtaking Max Verstappen, but he also took over Arvid Lindblad and Gabriel Bortoleto. And we have some people who entered the standings after China who did not have points in Australia, but now they have points. We have Liam Lawson, who is 9th, Isaac Hadjar, who was 11th, Oscar Piastri, who was 12th, Carlos Sainz, who was 13th, and Franco Colapinto, who is 15th, who has finally scored a point for Alpine.
Let's go, Franco. Come on.
Listen, we will actually talk about Alpine
Yeah.
soon, but homie was in second for a minute. He went, what do I do? What do I do?
I
I'm
literally, so Jessica mentioned she watched the race live. I did not. I was awake at 2 a.m. and the race started 3 a.m. our time, but I just knew, I'm like, I can't make that 2-hour commitment. I'm going to bed. I'll just watch it when I wake up in the morning. So I was able to watch it, and then I was texting her a couple of times throughout the race, and I was mostly sending voice notes. And the first 15 laps there was just a lot going on. I felt overwhelmed watching
I know, I could tell.
that race because I was just like, wait, these people, I was like, oh, we have a quarter of the grid starting in the pit lane. No, they didn't. They didn't even start. And then we had at one point we're pitting on lap 10, and I was like, why are we pitting so early? And then we had a safety car, but lap 11 or 12, and then Franco Colapinto was in P2.
Girl.
It was just a lot, and I was like,
What do I do? What's happening? What's happening? And I'm just looking at my phone I can't say. You shall see.
So yeah, there was a lot going on in this race. It was very exciting. I did want to mention at the top of the episode, this is something that you had brought up, that some people were complaining about what did they call it? Clippings?
So we had a comment, and I didn't know what this really meant at the time. I mean, I looked at what it meant, but I don't always consume and I don't think you do either really anymore, we don't consume that many F1 podcasts anymore just because I don't necessarily want to be influenced by others' opinions. So I haven't been watching like other podcasts, I'll just say. And so we had a comment, which shout out if you're watching, who was like, it's so refreshing to find a podcast who's not complaining about clipping for 25 minutes. And so I looked it up and I was like, okay, I got the general idea of like what that meant, because I ain't gonna lie, homie, I was like, what's that mean?
The fact that both of us were like, what does that even mean? Like, we don't even know to even complain about it. But yeah.
But I think it was just they were. So then that's what. Anyway, go ahead, your turn. That's what I was saying. Probably brought up when we were talking about. I sent you something.
Yes.
That was like.
Yeah.
Huh?
So basically, the gist of it is that apparently there's some people who are dissatisfied with and some of the drivers have complained about this, where it feels like they're not always in control of when the power and the battery is deployed in the car, because it is done through like machine learning. The programs and computers within the car are set up to basically they learn as the drivers just put in more laps. The computers learn, and the computer decides like what's the most efficient and optimal way and like times to deploy the power. And so the computer is continually learning the whole time, but the drivers don't have control over that. So they just either have the power or don't. And it kind of sometimes they've been caught out or like surprised by when the power is there or not. And so apparently there are some fans and people watching Formula One that have complained about this particular aspect of the racing, saying that it creates artificial battles on track. And because it has turned into a situation where we've seen multiple times where it's like someone will overtake and then another person, they'll re-overtake them. And then it's kind of just like this, they call it yo-yoing. They're just back and forth, taking and overtaking.
Yeah. And
some people are complaining about that. And I thought that was interesting. I don't care. If it's okay, so if you're going to complain that it creates artificial overtaking and re-overtaking scenarios and like artificial racing or whatever, however you want to explain that, did we forget that DRS existed last season?
Yeah, that wasn't.
That's artificial. That's manufacturing a situation in which somebody gets an artificial advantage to overtake somebody. So like, are we just gonna forget that happened last season, and we're now all of a sudden we don't like artificial scenarios created by me. Like, yeah. Okay, come on, calm down.
If y'all want to watch pure racecraft, honey, go to F1 Academy. Which
watch a spec series.
Yeah, which you should.
Yeah,
but to me, it's not that. I had said I understand the conversation, and I understand where some fans just might not be as interested, because I do see the scenario where maybe it feels a little more like. It really is so much of the engineering side of these regulations, because, I mean, Formula One is the pinnacle of motorsport in the sense of, like, you're supposed to have the best drivers, but it's also the pinnacle of technology within motorsport. Technology is motorsport. Like, even on bare bones cars, you still have, like, all cars still have computers. They still have electrical systems. They still have technology.
Yeah, it's just that the emphasis of the last set of regulations, in that sort of era of regulations, the emphasis on like the car development was aerodynamics and downforce, basically. This new set of regulations, this new era of Formula One, the focus on car development seems to be on the battery and the power deployment and the computer learning from it. So it's just a different emphasis on car development. And I get where you can become, I guess I can get where you can become frustrated, where it seems like you're following for the drivers and their skill and what they can do.
So I get the frustration, but to me, I don't feel the need to come on here and complain about that, just because it's like, one, nothing I say will change anything. Two, if all the drivers hated it that much, and maybe they do, something will eventually give or change. I mean, if everyone's truly that miserable, right? And if people truly hate it that much.
Listen here. Lewis Hamilton is the happiest I've ever seen him.
Alone.
He said he had fun this weekend, and he looks happier than I've seen him in years, literal years. Charles Leclerc, who lost the battle to Lewis Hamilton on track, they were trading back and forth and battling, very close driving. Even though he lost, ultimately came in P4 and Lewis came in P3, Charles said in the middle of the race to his engineer, that was a lot of fun. He had a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I know, like, other drivers aren't having as much fun.
But that's just because their cars have not been developed to the point where they can experience the fun.
I'm sure it's that. And I mean, I understand the idea that part of you is like, I just want to drive the car. I don't want to necessarily think about, because there is a lot the driver gets to like consider when it comes to when they're going to harvest their power, when they are going to use it. You know, they do have like
some control over that.
So I understand that it's an element that some drivers might not want, or like some people don't enjoy that. But I'm like, at the end of the day, I just feel like I've been seeing a lot more battles, whether people think that's artificial or not. I mean, it's not like we have, I don't really know. I'm like, it's just closer quarters racing, and I'm enjoying it. And it just doesn't feel like my place to come on here like like I'm some expert at the end of the day anyway, where I have a right to even complain. I'm not saying you don't have a right to complain if you're no longer enjoying a sport, but I think harping on it when I'm just talking about a race. It's a race review. So it is interesting though to see certain platforms like
the cars are what they are.
Yeah.
The regulations are what they are. So to complain about it for so long or ad nauseum, like I get being frustrated about it, but like at some point just move on.
Yeah.
Like take it for what it is and just move on. And again, I follow the sport and all I know, because I'm not complaining about the clipping or whatever. All I know is that I have seen more on-track, wheel-to-wheel battles in racing, like very close, hard racing. I've seen a ton more overtakes. And those are the two things that I find exciting about the sport and I want to see. And that's what I've saw this past weekend. I saw a lot of it. So I don't really have anything to complain about.
No, I mean, even down to the midfield, I mean, it seems like the battery harvesting is giving people, we're not having these gaps. I mean, we have some gaps. I mean, obviously, you know, but it's not nearly like it was in the sense of like, you know, people are constantly having like a chance. So I don't know. I just am like, it is either way, it is what it is. And you can either, you know, as a content creator, deal with it or not. Like, it's just to me, it is what it is. I'm not saying you can't have an opinion. I'm not saying you can't criticize things. I think that's completely fine to do. But at the end of the day, we're not the ones driving, and we just get to watch the sport. And if it becomes very apparent that every single person on that grid hates it, fair enough. But that's just not what the case is right now. Like, if Lewis Hamilton's happy, baby, I'm happy.
Look, if y'all want to complain about it, feel free. You can do what you want.
But if you don't want to listen to people complain all the time, come join us.
Yeah, because we're not going to.
No.
I did want to mention something that you pointed out, because something I actually noticed watching the race is that part of why I think I felt overwhelmed, especially in the first maybe like half of the race, there was so much going on, is because the cars were literally, I think from first to last, were within like 10 seconds of each other or something crazy. Like
tenths of seconds?
10.
You mean like the whole grid was within like a 10-second gap of each other?
Yes.
Like from first to last?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that not what I said?
The way I interpreted it, I was like, if there was a 10-second gap between everybody, like, they gone.
From first to last was about 10 seconds between them. So we had it wasn't 22 cars. It was, we started off with 18.
Bless.
And a couple more retired after that. So, but from first to last, it was about 10 seconds. And so that's part of why I felt so overwhelmed watching the race, is because when we get these camera shots of cars coming around the corners, there's like 5, 6, 7 cars, one after the other. I couldn't even, they're going so fast. I was like, wait, whose car is that? Who is that?
Who is that?
I swear there was one shot, but speaking of how fast these cars were going, there was one shot of when Charles and Lewis were battling. Lewis was leading. I can't turn my hand that way. I'm like, Lewis is leading, Charles is following. And Charles is around a corner. Charles goes to make the pass, and the way that he sped up and the way the camera was angled, it looked like somebody gave him like a turbo boost. And it probably was just the power kicked in right there when he slingshot around it. But it looked like it was like a camera effect. He just went
girl
right past it. And I was like, wait.
You're like, what's happening?
Was that a camera trick? But yeah, very fast racing, very close racing. Very exciting, but just a lot going on and a lot to fully like absorb.
Oh yeah, it's so much now that like it used to sort of be like we'd have the front runners, they'd get out maybe a little bit of battles, but then for the most part, oh, he's going to have DRS this lap. So now we can cut away from them for a minute. We can go to the midfield. But now it's just like...
You have to watch everybody the whole time because...
And they can't.
Yeah.
So like we have battles going on up front that we can't really pay all of the attention to in the midfield. But people... It's a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's not just on the straight. They can do shit now. Like, they can do it throughout the entire lap. So it's like, oh, shit.
Yep.
It's a lot.
And then even timing when you do an overtake. So for overtake mode, you have to be within a second of the car in front of you, and you have to be there at the single detection point on the lap. But once you hit that detection point, you have overtake mode for the entire lap. So that means that you just got to wait. If you're within a second, wait till you hit that overtake checkpoint, and then you can overtake the car in front of you, and then you still have overtake mode. You have that extra boost the whole rest of the lap, and the person you just overtook doesn't.
I feel like Lewis did that a lot.
Yes, and I'm like, that's very strategic and very smart to do, and so that's just one of the things the drivers have to factor in when they're trying to time when they're going to make their move to overtake somebody.
Exactly. No, I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean... A happy Lewis, if I have a happy Lewis, I'm fine. Like, honestly, that was great.
They say happy wife, happy life.
Yes.
Happy Lewis, happy life.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so I guess it's time we can go into our individual sort of driver performances and talk about each team.
Yeah.
So looking at Mercedes. As we mentioned at the top of the episode, we had Kimi Antonelli finishing P1, getting his first Grand Prix win in Formula One at just 19 years old. Again, he's the second youngest Grand Prix winner in F1 history, and also the youngest pole sitter in F1 history at just 19 years old.
When Kimi started to cry giving his interview, that got me. I was like,
me too. I was sitting there like, who's cutting onions?
I was like, oh, the baby.
I know.
Good for you, Kimi.
Yeah, we're so proud of Kimi. So, his race was interesting. He got away a little bit better than George Russell, even though because basically his start was, he was trying to cover off George because I think he knew that if the Ferraris got ahead, he could probably overtake them later in the race, and his main competition was going to be his teammate.
Yeah.
And so he went way far on the right side of the track to cover off George so he wouldn't be overtaken by him. And then both Ferraris just went, whoop. They went,
bye,
jumped ahead. And so we had a Ferrari leading for a second. But then eventually, Kimi just got ahead and stayed ahead. And he just, I think at one point he had like a 7 to 8 second gap between him and, because eventually it was George running in P2.
Yeah.
So he just had that gap and maintained it. He had a little wobble 3 laps from the end. He got a little flat spot, and I guess that woke him up.
He was like, oh.
And so, we had Toto mentioned like that when that happened, he looked at Bono, who is Kimi's race engineer, and he looked at Bono and he was like, get on the radio and tell him to don't do that again.
Don't do that.
And so Bono gets on the radio and he's like, okay, Kimi, let's just breathe and bring it home. That's all we want.
Kimi's
Stop setting fastest laps. Like, we're okay. And Kimi's like, okay, I got it. And he brought it home.
He did such a good job.
He's also the first Italian Grand Prix winner since 2026. So in 20 years.
Yeah.
So that's
nuts.
awesome.
It's a good, listen, Italy is happy as hell right now.
Oh yeah. We had an Italian driver win, and then we had Ferraris on the podium. Like, Italy's sitting good right now.
Italy said, here we go.
Yeah. So let's talk about George Russell. He finished P2.
He did.
He won the sprint. He had a solid weekend.
Yeah.
His start still not the greatest, but I think Mercedes is going to struggle a little bit until they can get to a point where if they can bring some upgrades or something, they're just going to struggle with the starts.
Yeah.
Last episode, I mentioned how he kind of came into the weekend in Australia. He had like a different sort of energy about him, a different sort of vibe. He was coming across a lot more confident in the car and his kind of like driving ability. And he just had a different sort of energy. He felt kind of like settled and like grounded and just like straightforward. Like, he wasn't overly excited about winning last weekend. So let me get to this weekend. And I get that he's happy for his teammate, but every interview that he gave or whenever he answered the question, he said what he needed to say, but I did not feel the sincerity in what he was saying. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm picking up some stuff. I don't know if you picked up any of that vibe too, but he was kind of giving the platitudes and saying what the lines that he needed to say. And congratulations, Kimi. It's so impressive. But I just feel like deep inside, George Russell's like, God damn it. this little 19-year-old upstart is not taking away my year and my championship. Like, again, pure conjecture. I do not know this man, but I did not feel the sincerity in what he was saying.
I don't know. I mean, I think George is definitely going to always say what he's supposed to say.
Yes.
He's always going to be polite, and he knows he should be happy for Kimi, and it's the right thing to say and do. I think that George, he got put in the situation where essentially because he was battling, Kimi sort of got away. Mm-hmm. Like, he was able to kind of maneuver and get away, and then George was the one fighting the Ferraris for a little bit or whatever. And so the Ferraris seemed to be better in the corners, which George had even commented. And so I think that, even though it's a P2, I know George is seeing this, and there's the whole like conversation around if things will be different starting in June. And I mean, this is do or die. Like, every single point is going to matter, because if they are going to have to change their compression, if they're going to have to change something within their engine that makes them not as fast starting in June when the FIA is measuring that compression ratio different, not to mention 2 races have been canceled. Mm-hmm. So there's 2 things of points he's not going to get. There's a whole month now that he's not going to get. So, I mean, he has nothing in April now, I don't think.
You're correct.
So there's literally no racing in April, which means there's just, how many races are in May?
Miami and Canada.
So there's 2 races that he can't, let's just imagine he gets first, right? So it's 25 points. That's 50 points he's not going to get.
Yep.
And so he has 2 races, and then June they're going to be measuring it differently. We don't know what that's going to mean or look like, but I don't know. Yeah. So,
but also, not to mention just the inner team dynamics. So, last year we had, we saw teammate battling with McLaren, and they were very much papaya rules of they don't have a number 1 driver they don't have a number 2 driver. They have 2 number 1 drivers, and they're trying, they were trying to very evenly, like, not show preferential treatment to one or the other. Just depending on the scenario, they made calls in the moment, right?
Yeah.
Mercedes is not going to do that. I can guarantee you Mercedes is not going to play that sort of, like, not having a number 2 driver game, because Toto Wolff has been there, done that, bought the T-shirt when it was Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. And when you have that sort of driver dynamic and you don't have a clear number 1 and number 2, and it creates that sort of inner team rivalry, I think Toto, just his better judgment is going to tell him, no, we need to have a clear number 1 and clear number 2 who we're supporting. Mm-hmm. At this point, I would say that George, being the senior driver, and the more experienced driver, is their number 1 driver, and Kimi is number 2. However, if we get to a point where Kimi is outperforming George, I have no doubt that Toto will swap it and make Kimi their number 1 driver, and they will give preferential treatment when it comes to strategy and everything to Kimi. I
mean, I think they've sort of made George feel that way.
Yeah.
They went out of their way to get Kimi Antonelli. Kimi Antonelli skipped F3. Max Verstappen didn't skip F3. Kimi did. He went straight into F2 from karting. So they put him in that seat last year, and there was so much talk about Toto trying to sweet talk Max Verstappen to join Mercedes. He's not taking Kimi's seat. Whose seat is he taking? That was very public. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, George has been put in an awkward situation where he sort of knows. Mm-hmm. It's been proven to him that Kimi's not going anywhere. Kimi's the long-term plan. Mm-hmm. Max is unhappy at Red Bull right now. I mean, he's not unhappy at Red Bull, but obviously he's not happy with the car.
Yeah.
What happened last time that happened? Every time Max Verstappen is fucking unhappy at Red Bull. And if it's a long-term unhappiness, Toto Wolff is all up on a private jet sweet talking him. So, I mean, it's just one of those things that if I'm George, those are things that I would probably be thinking about, because, I mean, and it's kind of messed up because George has been, like, he was a good teammate to Lewis. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a consistent driver, but yeah, I could see where George has a lot to consider not being on the number 1 constantly.
Yeah, George is very good at playing the team game.
Yeah.
And I think if he knows what his role is and it's well defined and very clear to him, he'll play the role. He does what you want him to do, but at the same time, he wants to be the number 1 driver.
Yeah.
He has that. He wants to be a world champion. You don't get to Formula One and not be competitive, like not have that competitive spirit. And so, I think he can toe the party line, but deep inside him, I feel like he was just seething. And again, I don't know this man. This is pure conjecture.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention the fact that because like it's only the second race of the season. In this particular race, Kimi set those two statistical facts that we mentioned of him being the second youngest Formula One winner. This is his first Formula One win, and also he's the youngest pole sitter. And this is his first pole.
He overtook Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah. So as the youngest
pole sitter.
Yeah. So Kimi's hitting all these markers, right, of this race. And that all of that combined is just such a shining star achievement moment, and then George is just like playing second fiddle to that. So it's not just the fact that Kimi did well this weekend and won, and George came P2 in the main race. It's the fact that like Kimi is like the golden boy this weekend, and George is like, I'm chopped liver over here, I guess. Yay, Kimi.
It's like Kimi gets first, Lewis gets third. That's all anybody talked about.
And George is like, what?
Even Toto runs over, hugs Lewis. Bono hugs Lewis, and then they're on the podium, and then Bono's standing with Lewis and Kimi, and they're like, fuck off, George. Uh-huh. And they take their picture, then they're like, okay, now you can come over. Like, it's a lot of the I mean, if I was George, I would be like, y'all just let me know when you want me to be a part of it. It's, believe it or not, we all three shared the damn podium.
Yeah, this is not the Kimi Lewis show, but apparently it is.
It was for me.
So yeah, I can see a world in which George feels some kind of way about this weekend, but he's gonna do it. He's too polite to let that really show through, and he's gonna say the right things and do the right things, and yay, Kimi.
Publicly.
But I just know, just the way I've seen him be like genuinely enthusiastic about wins and happy about stuff, and I'm just not getting that vibe from him. So yeah, that was something I really wanted to talk about George.
Yeah, it's interesting. But you have another fun fact for Mercedes.
Yeah, fun fact. Mercedes opened the season with back-to-back 1-2 finishes.
Go Mercedes.
Yeah, so they were the preseason favorite to win the constructors. So far, they're still the favorite. We'll see, because Ferrari's giving them a run for their money.
That's another thing to consider. Ferrari's giving them a run for their money, especially at the start. So the race pace they don't have. I mean, literally, the Mercedes were pulling away. There's some clear advantage that's there. We obviously don't know what it is, but the idea or the conjecture and, super spies are thinking it's the compression ratio, which has not been proven, but it's just suspected. Mm-hmm. If I was Mercedes, or even if I'm George and I know that, the Ferrari's being so competitive at the start before, my car is heating up as much. Because, I mean, that's the other thing. The engine heats up over time. Mm-hmm. So when the race just starts, it's not heated up as much as it's going to be. By the time the race is like, I don't know, by the time they're going for a while, sure it is. They're pulling away, halfway through, quarter way, just depending on pit stops, obviously. But, it'll be interesting. If I'm Mercedes, I'm going to see that. And if that is true, and I'm going to have to change something within my engine that's going to take away that competitive advantage, it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Mm-hmm. Because Ferrari's already giving them a run for their money at the start. And if you get that advantage away, I mean, then you really have, some title contention.
Speaking of Ferrari. We can bask a little bit more. We'll get into a little bit more about how Lewis and Charles's races were. So we had Lewis Hamilton finishing P3. Fun fact, this is his first podium with Ferrari. He got a great start, took the lead into turn one. Eventually Kimi Antonelli re-overtook him. Mm-hmm. There was some good back and forth battling just in general between our top four finishers. Mm-hmm. Love to see it. I'm digging this Mercedes versus Ferrari vibe we've got going on. Mm-hmm. Very happy for Lewis. Again, he seemed just overall thrilled with how this weekend went and was very happy and felt like, they were questioning him during the press conference about, does the two podiums in the sprint and the main race this weekend, does that give you more confidence, as a driver or, where you're at with the team and stuff like that? And Lewis was like, not really. I mean, he's like, I can't, it was more like his reset over the winter break. him being able to have more involvement with the development of this car as opposed to last year's, being able to make some changes within the team. So, his engineer is different. His race engineer is different. So all those things, he apparently he was able to remember who you are, like Lion King.
Don't forget that fan that yelled that at him that time. That was, which, I mean, I feel like that fan, you know what? Shout out to you, whoever he is, because what's crazy is sometimes you just think you're just going to scream something, but no, like that resonated with him because he's brought it up like multiple every time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never heard him say that till that fan yelled that at him. He's like, don't forget who you are, or never forget who you are. And I'm like, that's right.
That's right. And
that's right.
So he said, he came into this season with a lot of confidence, and this weekend doesn't really change that. He was kind of already there in a much better place, and it's apparent he's just smiling more. He's happy. Last year was just sad, Lewis. He was just a depressive little rain cloud. He was like Eeyore.
No, and it's awful because you said Lewis is like the color yellow because like it's just happy. It feels good. It feels warm. You love it. I'm like, whew, okay, I love this. Love this.
Yeah. So, and he said that this race was the main race was one of the most enjoyable he's had. Like he said, in years, if ever. Like he just had so much fun and loved it. And he was talking. I think he just likes China in general. He if he has a chance to show off his foreign language, because he's not fluent, I don't think in any foreign language. He's fluent in English. But if he can say a little hello, goodbye, thank you in a different language, he loves a little shishi and ni hao. He was hitting it every time he got on the microphone, and I loved it. I'm like, yes, Lewis.
I texted you. It was during the sprint race. And Lewis goes, they ask him a question. He goes, ni hao. And the whole crowd's like, ah! And it just cracked me up because Lewis was like, I'm going to get to you in a minute, but ni hao. Love.
Yeah, but he, I think, just likes China in general. His mom was there, so it was Great Britain had their England, whatever, had their Mother's Day weekend. So his mom was there, and they got to do a little excursion in China before the race weekend really got underway, and so he said that was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
It was great to have his mom there, and he was just in a good mood. He loves the fans in China, and even George commented that this is the outside of his home race, this is the place where he's received the most like fan support like at the race itself. And I'm like, China goes hard for their drivers. They represent. They show out. They show up.
It's crazy. Like Lewis has a whole stand there.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah. They did we mention already? I think we did. Or we may not have. So this is the biggest turnout that China has had. In like ever for Formula One. And Lewis said, for the past 20 years, there's the grandstand at turn, I think he said 11 or 12. It's always been closed. He said it was completely filled this year. The first time he's ever seen it like that. And I think you mentioned that it was sold out race.
Yeah, it was.
So like that's the most fan attendance they've ever had in China. Motorsport in general, but especially F1 is just growing and growing there. And it's great to see. We love to see it. But yeah, Lewis was just thrilled, happy with the whole weekend. I think he just had fun.
Yeah, he looks like he's having fun. I mean, him and Charles seem to be doing some like nice, clean, hard racing, but like it's racing. It's like wheel to wheel action. There seems to be respect there. So I'm like, that was really fun to watch. They both seem to have fun with each other. So, I mean, I know like during the sprint race at one point, Charles was like, I'm gonna need some room. But then during this race, he was like, that was fun. So seems good. I mean, it just seems like the vibes overall seem pretty good.
Charles in general, I think, is a pretty... Charles and Lewis individually are pretty respectful racers and they give people room. Except Charles and Max, when they come together,
Lewis and Max too. It's interesting. Common denominator.
I wonder what that is. They get a little frisky and a little closer, if you will. But even when Charles had Carlos Sainz as his teammate, they had some tough battles on track too. Always close racing, but very rarely did they cross the line into touching or damaging the cars or anything like that. So but Charles said that these new cars are really fun to race. Max Verstappen disagrees. A couple other drivers disagree. But again, I think this is a case of like, you can either, if you're blaming the new regulations and the new cars for you not being able to have fun driving, again, I think it's just because your car has not been developed to the point where it is fun to drive.
No, yeah. I mean, I think Red Bull will figure it out. And then Max has also said, he doesn't want to go anywhere. And like, people, he's said things before, but he's also like, I don't want to go anywhere. Like, I like, there are things that I don't like right now, but I also have other things I get to go do that I do like. But, most of his time is taken up by Formula One, and he wants to enjoy it. So he hopes things do get better. And I'm like, I hope so too, because I don't want Max to go anywhere. But wherever he goes, I'll be like, okay, I guess I'm like always, whatever you're doing, guess I'm going and watching endurance racing now.
I'm going with you.
Going with you wherever you go.
You're my guy.
Yeah, you don't pick.
Yeah, the driver picks you. You don't pick the driver.
Exactly.
So moving on to McLaren.
You can just move on. They didn't race.
And moving on after McLaren.
And Haas, no.
Yeah, so this was a miserable, miserable weekend for McLaren in general. Poor bad. Oscar Piastri hadn't been able to race in a Grand Prix yet.
No, literally. Like, what is even happening?
I feel so bad for his fans that come to the races because they are just not getting their money's worth to be able to see him drive.
At this point, if you go to an F1 race, honey, you better have a few drivers locked and loaded, have a few hats up in that back, have some jackets, have whatever you need.
Make a quick change.
Make a quick change, whatever you need to do.
Yeah, so Lando Norris had a DNS for the main race. He recorded the first DNS of his Formula One career.
Ew.
That's a fun fact. He did not make it out of the pits after McLaren found an electrical issue with the car before the race. They tried to fix it, but they just couldn't. And then Oscar Piastri made it to the grid, but then had to be wheeled back to the pit lane with a separate electrical issue. And so, again, he just didn't get to start the race. And it's it's funny because F1 TV was doing their grid walk before the race started. So there's a portion of the program where they have one of their pundits gets in front of the camera, and then they just walk along the grid before the race starts, and they're kind of talking about where each driver's positioned at. They grab interviews with people if they can. And so one of the people that they pulled was Oscar's race engineer. They pulled him over, and he was talking about how, yes, I feel like we're in, a good spot, and we're, ready to get this race underway. Basically, like, there was no, and then he turned around, and like they're immediately wheeling the car out.
And he was
back
like, I'm
to the
just
pit
kidding.
lane. Yeah. And so, yeah, that was unfortunate. And I think Julian Palmer was doing the grid walk. And so that race engineer went up to Julian Palmer after the race and was like, I'm never doing a grid walk interview with you again because you brought me bad luck.
Yeah. Don't ever speak to me again.
I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently this is now the second year in a row that we've had a double, so last year it was a double DSQ for Ferrari. And this year it was a double DNS for McLaren. I'm just saying, something to note. They pick a team and they're like, no.
They said, you're done.
You're done.
You're done.
Yeah. So moving on to Haas.
Oh my gosh. Oliver Behrman had so many great overtakes. So happy for him. He finished P5. And I had mentioned last time that I was sort of like, I'm really, really bored with Alpine and Haas. They were really supposed to be. Let me tell you, honey, they said they heard. And they said, They were battling it out, showing that they are those cars that are supposed. They're the top midfield. It was Pierre Gasly, Oliver Behrman, respectively. Pierre Gasly was P6, Oliver Behrman P5. So they're battling, and I'm like, there you go, there you go. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, that was something that I noticed. I was like, okay, there we go. No complaints right now.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great race. Second race in a row, he scored points for Haas.
Yeah.
A lot of people were, very impressed with his performance this weekend. They had several people mentioning, like, it won't be long before, they're predicting it won't be long before he's signed to a top field.
Well, he's a Ferrari Academy driver. I mean, if he's that, they would have to let him go.
Yeah, but basically a front of the field sort of team or top team, they don't think it's long before he makes that move. So, I mean, and if you think about it, I don't know how many more years Lewis Hamilton is gonna be in Formula One.
Get out of my house.
I'm just saying.
He's literally not going anywhere ever.
I'm just saying.
He ain't going anywhere till he get that 8th baby doll.
If
44.
If he decides to retire from Formula One within the next 3-4 years, Oliver Behrman could make that move. He could be a Ferrari driver.
For 3 or 4 years. Okay.
I didn't say he was retiring after this year.
I hear soon. I'm like, within
You're
2.
Like, now.
I'm like, how dare you say that? So something to note for Oliver Behrman, by the way, he literally avoided hitting Isaac, who like had a moment spin out. That was so scary. Like, holy crap. So good on him. Avoided that. Still finished. Like, strong points. Like, whew. He did not have a calm race, but he had a good one.
Yeah. And then we have Esteban Ocon. Finished P14. He had a shot at the points and ran as high as P3 at one point. But he had a collision with Franco Colapinto. And Esteban immediately admitted that was my bad. That was my fault.
100% was his fault.
He's like, it's very clear. No pointing fingers or trying to say what,
Yeah, he goes, that was me.
So
he goes, sorry.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that I think someone pointed out or someone mentioned that the team principal for Haas, is it Io Komatsu? Is he? Yeah. So they said that he, talking about his two drivers, basically pointed out that at this point, Ollie Behrman is outperforming Esteban. And it's not really something you want to see when Esteban has so much more experience and he is a race-winning driver. Right. He did win a race, right?
He won the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix.
Okay, good. I was like, I'm not crazy, right? He has won a race. Yeah, so you've got a race-winning driver who's just making mistakes like this. Where this mistake with Franco was just a silly mistake. It's not one, it was overly ambitious, not one you want to see a senior driver making.
Yeah.
So, Esteban, step it up, bro.
Come on.
I know you can do better. I've seen you do better. Do better. Alpine. Yeah, so Alpine at one point was the third fastest team on the grid. Just randomly for no reason.
Everybody pit and they were like, I'm not going anywhere. Colapinto's like, I'm staying right here and I'm fighting everybody who's trying to pass me.
Well, even before the pit, though, they were running in, it would have been P5, P6.
They were doing really good.
Yeah. So, Pierre Gasly, again, he's one of those drivers that is, I think, underrated just because he's been at teams that have not been able to give him the car that he needs to compete at the front of the field.
Yeah.
But he showed what he could do. So, second weekend scoring points for the team, finished P6. It was a good weekend, some good battles. Franco Colapinto scored his first points for Alpine.
Yes.
Finally.
Hopefully more to come.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't seem to have great qualifying pace at the moment. He's really got to figure that out. I know some people aren't great qualifiers. Others, that's where they excel. So I think he's got to just figure out that qualifying pace because obviously there's pace in the car. He's got some good racecraft going. So he just got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Because the car seems to be there. They should definitely be fighting for P5, P6 in the constructors.
Yeah, so Alpine was the only midfield team to score with both cars in China.
Ayo. Go Alpine.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, and Flavio Briatore, who boo hiss, I don't like him, made a point of saying this shows that Alpine can be competitive and regularly fight for points, which feels important after the rough opening doubleheader.
Yeah.
And even just the rough season last year. And yeah. So moving on to Racing Bulls.
Yeah.
Liam Lawson getting the elbows out. Finished P7.
Yeah, he did a good job. He was just out there. What's crazy is it was so hard to really keep track of every single person because everybody was overtaking each other all the time.
Literally.
And then the camera's staying up front. And so we're not getting as much midfield action. I'm like, y'all have to get another team out there. Talk about the midfield. You need a midfield broadcast or something with how this is going. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But, Arvid Lindblad, he finished P12. I guess he got stuck on the wrong side of the safety car timing. And so, P12, he's still a rookie. So, he did really well in Australia. So, sometimes it's just luck of the draw.
Yep.
So, Red Bull. Whew.
Yeah. So, we had Isaac Hadjar finishing P8. So, we got some points. And it was his first points for Red Bull in China. His first points for Red Bull in general.
Yeah, I think it's in general because he had a D.
That construction is weird.
It is. But I think it's his first points for Red Bull ever because, he didn't finish in Australia.
Yeah. And then Max Verstappen had a DNF. He was, I want to say it was less than 20 laps left.
Yeah.
And then they called him in to retire the car. He was having power issues or something like that. He was just slowing down and couldn't get going. So yeah,
it wasn't good. Disappointed. I feel bad. I mean, good on Isaac for finishing in the points. Glad for him. I hate to see Max struggling so much. Yeah. And I know it's not a Max problem. Everybody who is aware of Max Verstappen or I've even heard his name is aware it has definitely not a driver problem.
Yeah.
So they got to straighten that shit out.
But is this the first retirement he's had in a while?
He had a retirement...
Like not from like a collision.
He had a retirement issue where something caught on fire. Maybe it was his brakes. The very first Formula One race in modern times that I watched, which was Australia 2024. And he had issues there where it wasn't a collision. And that's where Perez, I believe, won. And Carlos Sainz got a podium because everybody was making the appendix joke.
Yeah.
And Lewis also, when he was still with Mercedes. So I think 2024 is the last retirement I can recall when there was an issue with the car.
Interesting. Yeah, so it seems to, reliability, which a lot of people knew and mentioned that would be a concern with this new set of regulations.
Yeah.
And with so many different teams switching engine providers or just working with new people on the engines and the power units and stuff. So that was a concern and we knew it would be.
Yeah.
So,
plus
we're seeing that.
We have so much of it that's like electrical now too. I mean, it's just a whole new thing. It's crazy. So even like the providers who haven't changed, they've had to build whole new power units. So
yeah, so we were spoiled the last couple of seasons with the reliability where it wasn't as much of an issue.
Yeah, which back in the day, people used to have issues all the time, but that was before
we're clearly seeing the last two races. I mean, how many either DNFs or DNSs did we have this? Was it 6? More than 6?
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. So, yeah, I mean, this is just something you're going to have to... They said, we're going to add one more team, so you'll have 22 cars on the grid. And some people were like, there's going to be too many cars on the grid. It's going to be too congested. No, you actually have fewer cars on the grid now.
Yeah, which is crazy, which is kind of nuts because I'm like, y'all, it ain't the first time there's been 11 teams on the grid. Chill.
Williams.
First of all, okay.
What?
I was like, okay, Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
P9, what the heck? I honestly didn't even know that happened till after.
Literally.
I don't even remember Williams being mentioned one time.
I just found out just now that he finished P9.
No, literally. I was like, huh? Really? I was like, how? Did the car go bulimic?
By the grace of God, somehow he finished.
Lord have
finished
mercy.
P9. They put that car on a diet. They said they got that Wegovy, that Ozempic on that car.
That Wegovy?
Wegovy.
They got that GLP.
Yeah. So, he scored 2 points.
I don't even know how he did it.
I don't know. The first points of the season for Williams. Alex Albon, DNS. Was going to start from the pit lane, but hydraulic issue on the laps to the grid, so the formation laps, meant he could not start at all.
Mom.
Yeah.
Williams. I need them to... It's sad, but hopefully, in James Vowles we trust.
Yeah.
They will figure it out.
They will.
And listen, they're going to have a whole thing of April to figure it out.
Literally.
Because they're not on break.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
they
how
get to work.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to be treated. So, I mean, you got a month of work you get to maybe hope, unless they say otherwise. But, I mean, it wasn't on the calendar.
As far as I know, they have not said that they're going to do like a shutdown or anything like that. Like they have the mandatory shutdown they do over the summer where teams literally cannot work for 3 weeks. As far as I know, they get that whole month of April. So this is one of the teams that's like, this is a blessing for us because we get to make some changes and spend a lot more time developing the car and figuring out some of these issues. Whereas, some other teams, some of the maybe front of the field teams like Mercedes.
Mercedes is like, huh?
They're like, what?
What do you mean?
Excuse me?
Are you sure?
I'm sorry?
No. I need now. Need my points now.
Yeah, so hopefully Williams can figure some things out because, I mean, clearly the potential's there. You've got 2 great drivers. You've got a good team that has shown in, last season that they can execute during a race weekend. So hopefully the engineers can get the car figured out.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Audi. Nico Hülkenberg finished P11 and Gabriel Bortoleto had a DNS.
Yeah.
A weekend to forget for Audi.
Except not an F1 Academy because Emma Felbermeyer podiumed twice. So there you go. And I forgot to mention in our F1 Academy episode, I did think I'm going to mention here because not really a lot to say with Audi for F1. Jonathan Wheatley did go to the grid and it was super, super cute when I was watching it. And the whole Audi team's there and he's there. And I was like, he's just so nice.
So supportive.
So supportive. So, I mean, Audi, even though it's not a new team, it is still like new components, still new regulations. I mean, P11, right outside the points. I believe in Nico. and Gabby and Jonathan Wheatley. If I believe in James Vowles, I believe in Audi.
I mean, if they could just have a weekend where both cars start and finish the race, that would be ideal.
That would be great.
That would be an improvement of where we're at now.
Which is what Cadillac did.
Yeah.
Both cars finished, baby. And that, to me, success.
We'll take it.
Success.
Especially after, toward the beginning, we had a little contact between the two teammates.
Themselves. What are y'all doing?
So, Checo, what was going on, my guy? Like,
they said I'm bored.
We're making lunges or like, what are we doing trying to race that hard that we're having contact when we're literally, you're in your second race as a Formula One team. Chill out, bro. We're just trying to finish. Like,
yeah, well, Sergio Perez, apparently he said it was on him, and
yeah,
he's like, sorry. Oopsies. But
daisy.
Cadillac's still getting used to some things. There were a lot of drivers I noticed on the radio. They're like, I need my energy. Where is it? And that happened to Perez. I heard Lewis talk about that a lot. And they're, I guess from the pit wall or whatever, they're trying to figure out how to give that to them. So just seems sort of like growing pains. But I mean, good on Cadillac for getting both cars to finish. So I mean, it's a lot. That better than McLaren, babe.
Better than McLaren. Better than Aston Martin, who had double DNFs.
Better than Williams, better than Audi. If we're maybe not better than Williams in the sense of points, but if we're talking about getting the cars to just complete the race, there you go.
Yeah. So, again, Aston Martin. I have not seen anything from them since they made the name change to Aston Martin. I have not seen anything from them that is worth noting.
What do you mean since they made the name change? They've been Aston Martin for a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, Fernando had some moments like over the past 2 seasons that are like good. But I want my podium, and Aston Martin better give him a car where he can get it. Quit doing Fernando wrong.
The last time I remember anything remotely good about Aston Martin was when he was driving a tractor and holding people up in China a couple years ago.
Yes, that was awesome.
I need Aston Martin to do something. I need Lance Stroll to do something.
Lance doesn't go anywhere. His dad owns a team. I need freaking Fernando Alonso before he gets bored as hell. I want that podium, please. Please. I need it. And you know what? Adrian Newey will figure it out.
Hopefully.
He will.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So
that's all we got.
Best and worst segment. My driver of the day, it's Lewis Hamilton, babe. All day, every day. He's always my driver of the day, but this got the podium. Now I need the win. And I think we'll get it. I think we're going to get it. I think Charles, I see that. I'm very excited. I love a happy Lewis. I would give it to Kimi, but I'll give it. After hearing this oh my God, go watch our past episodes from last year every freaking week. Fun fact, Lewis Hamilton, once again, does not have a podium of Ferrari. And I'm like,
He got so many P4s last season.
I was like, shut the hell up. And then here we go. Love it.
Yeah, I'll give my driver of the day, the Kimi Antonelli. Yes. Baby boy, you did it. Good job.
Yeah, like listen, Toto got on that radio and he was like, they said not to put, he's too young. He too this, put him on a different team. Blah, blah, blah.
Give him more experience.
Blah, 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 blah. Well, look at them. Look at you now.
Look at me now.
Yeah, Toto was like the happiest of, all 3 of his children were up there. Poor George is a literal middle child. Holy shit. Like people love the oldest, they love the youngest. That's Toto.
Middle child syndrome.
Yeah, for sure. Oops.
Yeah. So biggest letdown of the weekend. McLaren for me.
Yeah, but
they didn't even start.
Yeah, that was bad.
Everyone who DNF'd, who DNS'd, that's my biggest disappointment.
My biggest disappointment, I was hoping that Red Bull was going to have more. Mm-hmm. Because I just thought there was a little bit of promise shown in Australia with Isaac getting qualifying P3, and then he just kind of was unlucky. Max started from the back, still finishing the points, and I was just kind of hoping for more from Red Bull, and that didn't happen. So that's probably what. Honestly, with McLaren, I felt indifferent. Like disappointed might just be a stretch. Like I kind of was like, if they're there, cool. If not, like it is what it is at the moment. Max, I was disappointed because I want to see him up there. So he didn't disappoint me, but the whole thing did. I was hoping for more with Red Bull. Yeah. So our next race teaser is going to be round 3 at the Aramco Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka Circuit. In 2025, our results were Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, and Oscar Piastri. This is also where Yuki Tsunoda debuted as a Red Bull driver at the time, which was very fun for Japan. But now Yuki Tsunoda is gone. but fun fact.
Yeah.
Some track stats. The first GP was held in 1987. It is 53 laps long. The circuit length is 5.807 kilometers, which is about 3.608 miles. The race distance is 307.471 kilometers, which is about 191.053 miles. The race lap record is held by Kimi Antonelli, which he set last year at 1 minute and 30.965 seconds. And the qualifying lap record is held by none other than Max Verstappen, which he set also in 2025 at 1 minute and 26.983 seconds. So what is this track like? Suzuka is fast, flowing with a lot of high-speed corners and quick directional changes, so car balance and driver confidence matters a lot. It's much more about nailing the corners than pure straight line speed, which will be very interesting to see how that's going to work with the battery harvesting. So the tire compound, Pirelli is supposed to be bringing the C1, the C2, and the C3, which is the hardest compounds. Suzuka is tough on tires because of its long, high-load corners, so degradation and tire management should still be a big part of the race. Can we overtake here? Generally, overtaking in Suzuka is pretty hard. You can do it through the hairpin and the chicane are like the main areas, but with the new overtake modes, and we're just going to see. It'll be very interesting to see how that changes, but...
Yeah, the new overtake modes, it seems that it is easier to overtake and have battles going through the corners now as opposed to last year.
Yeah.
And with Suzuka being so corner heavy and with cornering being the main thing that helps charge up the batteries on these cars, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I know that Suzuka is a favorite amongst a lot of the drivers.
God, so many people love it.
They love this track. And it's also a beautiful track because the cherry blossoms are usually blooming right around that time. They go racing there.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of fun shots through the cherry blossoms, a lot of footage and photos and stuff. So looks really nice. We do have to look out for rain. It does tend to rain quite a bit in Suzuka. So especially around this time of year.
Yeah.
And, there have been incidents with crashes and all that jazz because of the rain. So that is something to keep in mind.
Keep it in mind. But so we'll see. I'm assuming, qualifying and track position are obviously going to matter a lot. But it'll be interesting because, George's comment about how good Ferrari is in the corners. Like, this might be something for them. But we'll see.
Might get a Ferrari win in Suzuka.
I would. Stop it. But, all right. Well, that about wraps this up. Did you have any favorite battles? What do you guys think about Kimi Antonelli getting his very first win and Lewis Hamilton breaking the curse?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the year of the horse. We'll find out. But anyway, if you enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, join us. We promise we're not going to complain all the time. We're just going to yap about the race, and hopefully that's it. Yeah. So anyway, we will talk at you guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.